Hello, this is a review of the Pelikan P360 Epoch fountain pen, EPOCH. Uh, just got this today, and it comes in a standard Pelikan presentation case with the big halo swirl, kind of a vinyl impregnated paper type of plush box with the Pelikan logo and Pelikan name. It's a nice dark blue box, a little guarantee card or a booklet. The guarantee booklet, besides talking about the guarantee, which I'm not gonna worry about because I haven't used, besides my Franklin Christoph, I don't think I have ever used the warranty or the guarantee on any pen ever. And the Franklin Christoph people were fantastic. I had an issue with the barrel on my Model 29 getting detached from one of the thread rings and whatnot. So anyway, sorry to digress. But here it gives you the instructions for filling 3 different types of pens: converter type, cartridge, pure cartridge type, and this special cartridge type, which I'll go into. This is the Epoch P360 pen right here, and your traditional piston filler. So 3 different pens, and then it goes into ballpoints and other stuff which is irrelevant to our conversation or to our video here. So I'm gonna take the, oh, by the way, the whole thing comes in this sort of cardboard box, paper box, just to prevent damage to the presentation case. So I'm gonna just put all this away. The clip had a little clip tag which says Smaragd, I guess, which means green in German. Then green, let me focus. I'm sure you don't care, but P360 EF for extra fine. That's what I got, extra fine nib. So looking at the pen, it's a smaller pen than what I would call the average size. I would say the average size is, let's say, 5.5 inches. This is probably 5 1/4. So here is a pen, North Star, Rosetta North Star pen, which I would say is a standard size pen. Here is a Chilton Style Writer. These are just pens I have lying around right next to me. And you can see those are about the same size. I'm gonna say 5 3/4. This is slightly smaller, or maybe they're 5.5, and this is 5 1/4. So not too much different. Just while we're on the issue of size, when you do open it, the pen, just like the M200, sits very deep into the cap. So this is where the cap comes to, and you can see the pen almost sits all the way to the tip of the cap. So you know, I think it actually touches an inside plastic cap, another sleeve plastic cap. But anyway, so it's kind of overall shortish looking pen, but when you look at the uncapped length, it is a full size length, a normal size length, you know, without taking the nib into the account, because it's more of a number 5 size nib, and if you compare it to a number 6 size nibbed pen, the number 6 size pen is going to be longer by whatever the margin of the nib is. So so uncapped standard size, I would say what you could consider standard. Anyway, if you post it, it's pretty lightweight, nice long pen. It's not too long. Actually, this one I can use posted very easily. I don't intend to, but I could. In terms of the design and proportion, it's kind of this stubby looking, bulky looking design, which I initially did not like. I just wanted a few, you know, cheaper pens. I mean, this pen costs about $100. So it's not cheap in that sense, but cheaper than some of the pens I have been using because they're kind of my favorites, and I leave them lying around, and sometimes I get scared I might lose them. But so I got it for about 80. The pen has a very typical, very similar to my M200. It has a gold band, gold-plated ring at the cap, the bottom of the cap, edge of the cap, whatever you want to call it. It has a very rounded, everything is very rounded. So first of all, I mean, you can see the clip shape, very rounded. This, very rounded. The back end, very rounded. It almost looks like a vintage pen. I think if you took out this lustrous kind of satin finished green, it would look like a vintage pen. It would look exactly like a vintage pen. So I think this metal, which is aluminum, this is aluminum, that's why it's very light. This is plastic, the black pieces are plastic, only this green piece is aluminum. And it's just a very light pen. That's the only modern looking thing, in my opinion, on this pen when you kind of look at it from the outside. The clip, I just want to mention, it's not a typical Pelikan clip. It's in the same vein. It is attached to a clip ring. It's in the same vein because of kind of the shape, but it's not your bill shaped, you know, that you see in a traditional Pelikan. The back end has this this knob, if you will, which makes it look like a piston filler, and it does screw unscrew, but it is actually not a piston filler. It's a cartridge pen. It may or may not take a converter, and we'll get into that a little bit. So anyway, black cap, green barrel, and with a black end. This black end can come off. I can unscrew this, and this nib holder, I'm going to call it, can come off. So I keep forgetting which direction it's screwed in. So okay, here we go. So this will come off, and here I'm getting ink all over the pen. So this will come off, and that's basically your nib holder, and it says 506 there, and that's about it. I'll clean up the nib and show you a little bit. And here is your sort of male part of the nib feed assembly. And this barrel is basically just a aluminum barrel. You know, there's no grip section to say, you know, per se. That's just one big long barrel, very kind of shapely. It's flared at this end, and when you put this in, it kind of has this double sleeved flare, or whatever you want to call it. When you pull this piece out, the back end of the barrel, it has an inner metal sleeve, threaded sleeve, that's probably glued to this plastic sleeve. And then it has this plastic, I'm just going to call it a holder for the lack of a better word, for the cartridge to sit in. And it came with this long cartridge, and you basically slide this sucker in, and here you can see it actually snaps in. So I'm going to just push that, and it'll snap into place. And that locks it into this holder, and then you slide it in, and obviously everything's got to align perfectly for the nib holder and the cartridge to meet. I'm not a huge fan of this idea, this concept, because there's very little else you can do with it. I've seen some people take a converter and basically pull this out, put a converter, and I'll just show you. It didn't work for me because the nipple on this converter is the opening is too narrow, and you can see a little damage I did to the nipple of the converter, but you can fill in theoretically, it didn't work for me, so don't think that it'll work for you either. But you can basically, I mean, it's supposed to fit, but that does not hook up with the nib holder, or at least not tightly and securely and properly. So I'm just gonna use the cartridge for now. When this ink runs out, I have a syringe and a blunt needle, plastic needle, that I can use to fill it with the ink I really want to use for this pen. So interesting mechanism. I think it's a little overcomplicated. I understand why they did it, because they wanted the single piece barrel look. But you know, if it's intended for only cartridge use, then it's fine. But if they wanted, you know, to allow converter use, then it's not so great. So for cartridge use, it's perfectly fine. You can buy the long Pelikan cartridges. Actually, you can even take 2 small cartridges. I'm sorry I'm spending so much time on it. You can take 2 small international cartridges, apparently, and fit them back to back, so it takes up the whole length. So this is 2 times the length of a standard international. Now, I don't know if it's got to be international, if it has to be Pelikan, or can it be international. My international cartridges converters, nothing fit the feed properly, so I'm not gonna try it anymore, because I don't want to damage stuff. Okay, nib, very plain simple nib, except it's very rounded. Everything, like I said, is very round on this pen, which is, you know, it's not sleek. It really is not sleek. As you can see, it's kind of bulky looking pen, but you know, I'm not complaining. It's growing on me for some reason, and this is not, I wouldn't have thought that I would have overly liked this pen, but you know, when you're interested in something, you just want to collect different types of things, even though they may not be your preferred type of thing or preferred style. But I'm not minding this at all. Again, this is very rounded. You can see the feed cross section is circular for half its length. Let me just focus. The nib is also just wraps around the feed basically halfway. On focus. Okay, and it's a very simple nib, just wrapped around the circular cross-section feed. The feed has some fins and a little circular hole in the middle, which I don't know how deep it runs, whether it runs through and through, probably not. Vent hole, Pelikan logo. I hope you can see a little bit. And then it says EF for extra fine here. So quick writing sample. It's an excellent writer, as all Pelikans are. I didn't expect anything less. Let me just focus and we'll do a quick writing sample. So Pelikan, and that hesitation was just because I had pulled the thing out, pulled the cartridge out. Pelikan P360, and I'll go a little fast because this is turning out to be a long video. Epoch emerald, green, extra fine, gold plated, stainless steel nib. So it's kind of a wet writer for an extra fine pen. It's you know, Pelikan pens are excellent writers. Probably 2 of my top writers are Pelikan and Sailor. Even though I have some other very good, even excellent pens, these Pelikan and Sailor stand out in a different category altogether. So excellent pen, very smooth. I can go very fast with it, no problem, no skipping, no hesitation. It does get a little dry. Line variation, I can get extra fine, and I can go to, at best, fine medium. So that is the line variation. Hope you enjoyed this review, and thanks for watching. If you get a chance to try this pen out, certainly do so. It takes a while to kind of get used to the looks, and I think it's a very nice pen, and also to get used to this whole fancy cartridge system. And so hope you enjoyed this review. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.